Okay, dear friends in Dhamma, we have come to the second question and answer session. So we have received some written questions. We will start the session with written questions.
We have received 8 reports today, 6 in English, 2 in Sinhala. I'll read English reports first and then Sinhala ones. Kamatahan report. Venerable Bhante, I am relatively new for meditation. Sitting meditation. Concentrate on in-out, ashvasa prashvasa. Able to concentrate after few minutes. Different colors like wave forms, bright white color observed, but I have not concentrated on those signals. Walking meditation. Able to concentrate only few steps at a time, 5 to 10. Put the attention on touching point, left, right. Question number A, please advise me for improvement. B, kindly explain how to keep mindfulness when doing day-to-day activities, example, eating, bathing, etc. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, so improvement in the sense you need to continue. So it's a matter of furthering your practice, continuing it more and more. So then, I mean, there is no any kind of a magic. It's a matter of continuing your training, and then it's a matter of slowly gaining some kind of a momentum. So at the beginning, as we discussed yesterday, only 5 steps maybe later 6 steps, maybe 7 steps. So likewise, slow improvement is happening. So that's why we need fair amount of patience, endurance, and again the daily practice, maintaining the continuity, continuous effort. So all these things are actually helpful for you to continue the practice. And once you are continuing only, then you may understand, okay, I have some improvement. I have some tangible improvements. Say in terms of mindfulness, I am improving in terms of concentration, now little bit available. So likewise, you yourself can trace it. You yourself can understand it. I think you have recognized the situation and understood the method. So there is no any other thing I like to add. And daily activities, on the other hand, say for example, while eating. So before you eat, suppose that you get the food and various vegetables you have, and now probably you can establish mindfulness. Okay, what you see, maybe a little smell coming to your hand, there may be the heat of the food, and maybe now you are touching the rice, probably how you feel that to your fingertips. Then you are selecting a particular vegetable, how you feel that. Say you are selecting another something, maybe chicken, how it is feeling. So if it is touching something else, so how you feel it. So likewise, so even these little things, if you are mindful, you can be aware of. Because when you touch, say beans, it may be one kind of sensation, the texture may be one way. And if you touch dal, it may be different. So likewise, even these subtle differences, if you can recognize, so that indicates fair amount of clear comprehension in your practice. Because it is not mere mindfulness, but you are more concerned about what's really going on. So your body, your mind is fairly sensitive. I mean, we continuously have all these, say, differences, distinctions, but typically we ignore. But in the mindfulness practice, so we are retaining that kind of differences, so distinctions, improving that, and later everything will fix is important. Say you are, then assume that you are mixing everything. Then how you feel that? And you are making a lump and then you are putting to your mouth. How you feel that? And how the taste being recognized. So your tongue may recognize various different kinds of tastes, how that is affecting. And then assume that you are swallowing. Now all these activities you can do mindfully. Now suppose you are drinking a little bit of water, maybe a tea. So all such kind of things also, how you are feeling it, what is the kind of weight you feel it. So whether it is warm, cold, and once the lid is open, how you feel it. Now you are taking it closer to you, how you feel it. Maybe taking a little sip, how you feel it. So all these things, if you are doing mindfully, it's a kind of a, in a way, giving a kind of a rest to the mind. Now typically what happens is while drinking we are looking at various things, we are watching a movie, talking with another person. So the mind is not that relaxed. But suppose that you are doing this little activity with a silent mind, then the mind itself is getting refreshed, because there is no huge thing to do. There is no some complicated involvement in the mind. Rather, very simple activity is going on. That simple activity you are doing, say, wholeheartedly, with full awareness. So mind get recharged, like refreshed. So the refreshment of the mind is not depending on, say, so much of complicated activities. Rather, it depends on the silence. So how internally silent, it doesn't mean that you are sleeping or lethargic or drowsy or something like that. Mind is full alert, but silent. So, one of the achievement of Vipassana is that stilling of all formations. That means kind of a quietude. So there are no inner chatter going on. There is no inner formations generated. Mind is in a kind of a calmness, quietness. That's it. So how about just maintaining that? Very difficult in a way, because we don't like that. So we might feel bored. We need something to do. The silence is something sometimes we don't appreciate. So that's why, every time you feel bored, you want to listen to some music. You want to call another person. You want to watch a movie. Or you want to take your iPhone or iPad or smartphone and do chatting and this and that. How many times we are taking the phone to our hand to see the messages? WhatsApp messages, emails, SMS, what else? Telegrams, Facebook, so many things. Because we want to occupy our mind. So unknowingly we are being driven by them, and we don't know how to maintain a relaxed mind, a quiet mind. So very interestingly, I think John Kabat-Zinn, he has mentioned, so we have to switch from doing modes to being mode. Very true. So we are addicted in this doing mode. Always want to do something. But how about just be? Just be fully aware, but fully be. So that is something that we need to learn now, because all the gagematics what we have today are withdrawing us from that being mode. We always driving or kind of driving us towards that doing mode. Always getting involved, distracted. So the mindfulness, on the other hand, help us to come back to ourselves, settling back to the moment, earthing ourselves, aware of the situation, relax. So these are the areas that we have to promote, have to understand. And when we are there, fully accept that, fully be with it. Not expecting further something else, just be. Yeah.
Avasarai Venerable Bhante. Today when I was doing breath meditation, at one point I mindfully adjusted my posture very slightly. Immediately I felt like a gush of heat and sweat enveloped me. I opened my eyes to see if I was actually in a bath of sweat, but I was not. I felt I should not have opened my eyes but just continued. Later I thought such a slight movement resulted in such an overwhelming feeling. Is this the fear you mentioned yesterday one might feel when one realizes the anicca nature of this body? Theruvan Saranai.
No, actually that is not the fear exactly that we were discussing. So we were talking of seeing kind of the dissolution of the body, dissolution of various feelings and all different phenomena. By seeing that, there could be significant fear can arise. But here is something different. Say, when you are allowing the body to operate as it wants, so we may go through various waves. Sometimes the maybe heat waves, sometimes the cold waves, sometimes the pains, sometimes maybe pressures. So likewise, we don't know what would be the next wave. So we have to have a kind of an open mind, receptive mind, and just be aware. Okay, next wave. What is how it would appear, how it would manifest. So we are ready to accept. We are ready to face with it. So that is the kind of the courage that the yogi has to have. So not having any assumption, so say prejudices, preferences. Rather, whatever happens, I am ready to accept, be with it, to learn from it. If we have that sort of attitude, then it would be easy. And in this situation, I mean in the mentioned situation, I think say different elements are manifesting. We don't know what would be the next one. So as Bhante Jnanarama mentioned, so he beautifully has mentioned ධාතුන්ගේ භාෂාව යෝගාවචරය දැනගත යුතුයි. So we should know the language of the elements. So languages may tell in their own language. Sorry, elements may talk in their own language. So we have to learn that language. Say for example, when earth element have to talk, it may not talk in Sinhala or English. It may talk from the element language. So it may be the hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness, heaviness, lightness. So they are the indicators of the earth element. So whenever such kind of characteristics are there, then we need to understand, okay, there is a call from earth element. So I need to be observed, I need to be aware of that call, that indication. Say if there is water element in action, then they may talk through little say flowing kind of thing, cohesion. You feel little say wet, sweat and all these things. So that's an indication of some activity in the water element. When the heat element is there, that is quite obvious, maybe heat, cold. So that is indicating, that is most prominent. And air element, you may have going through some movements, vibrations. So those are the manifestations of the air element. So whenever we recognize those different characteristics, so it's a matter of accepting them, being with them, and maybe investigating them, how they are happening. And the next wave. So currently assume that now you are feeling heat. Okay, this is the heat element. Okay, now you feel sweating. Okay, this is the water element. Okay, now you feel little, say, tightness. Okay, this is again the earth element. So likewise, we can understand, but it doesn't necessarily, you need to map and remember, okay, this is the exact characteristics of earth element, this is only the water element. I mean, even that naming is not necessary. What is important is for you to fully be with that element characteristics, understand how it is changing, how it is arising, how it is passing away. So likewise, these characteristics are there for us to learn. I mean, they are teaching us, so we are learning from them. So, I mean, rather than opening your eyes, okay, just bear it for some time. And then only you may even understand, okay, right now it appear like little tightness. But this tightness also is a combination of so many little minute kind of tightness. Like we discussed maybe some time ago, a feeling, when you consider, maybe it's a pleasurable feeling. At the beginning it may appear like it started some time ago, now it is still available, okay, after 2 minutes it's fade away. So that may be the early picture we have. But later, once we have fair amount of precision in our attention, say clear comprehension is improved, then it is not the picture, it becomes more and more refined. Okay, little small feelings are there, minute feelings are there, they are quickly arising and passing away. It's a group activity, so altogether they appear like a pleasurable feeling. So when yogi has that kind of a precision, comprehension, so it is more that you understand the impermanence, because even these subtle little minute feelings are quickly arising and passing away, then only you may understand the depth of it. At that time, if you are, say, continuing your practice, again and again you seeing this how impermanent, inconstant it is, then as we discussed, the fear might even arise. I mean, it is not a must that the fear to arise, but sometimes it also can arise. Yeah.
Report number 3, Most Venerable Bhante, sitting meditation. I started to listen to sounds and time to time thoughts came. When I am back, I was able to understand face muscles are relaxing. When I focused to the breath, it was very soft and disappeared within short time. I felt lots of body sensations. My head moved to back and front. I felt like sleepy, but I was awake. Suddenly my head shook and I forgot where I was. I felt my body and I felt like I am in an empty space. I feel like whole world around me is empty. After few moments, I remembered where I am. Again, I felt the same sensation. After that, some thoughts came as a dream. It's like a conversation. Within a short time, I realized it and something happened again and again. It is more likely a dream, but I was awake. In this situation, I don't know where I am, but I was awake of the current moment. I think that I was not mindful for a very short time, like a less than 1 second. In this moment, mind was there in a deeper level and thoughts were there. When I wake up from meditation, felt really good. Theruvan Saranai.
Say, actually you are not there. So that's why it felt so good, because you are there. You are not there. So if you are there, you will spoil the situation. Good that you are not there. So, I mean, when you are experiencing emptiness, you can't be there. So there can't be any I-making, mind-making, a personality there. Rather, it all have to disappear. So a kind of an experience is going on. Mind is relaxing, established at nowhere. So then you are in good shape. Otherwise, if you have a lot of doubts, then you are actually disturbing the situation, disturbing the process. Now here a little bit of disturbance has happened because you are worrying, where am I, what has happened, what's going on. So that kind of little turbulence is there in the mind. So you need to even avoid that. So those are the things that actually even today we can discuss under the emptiness. So when mind is capable of letting go, still why are we getting agitated? So that is being very beautifully discussed in one of the Majjhima Nikaya suttas called Uddesa Vibhanga Sutta. Venerable Maha Kaccana. So he explained, now say, as because of the practice now, slowly mind is capable of letting go, non-grasping. So things are not grasped now for some time at least. But when non-grasping is there, you get little shocked. You feel little fearful. Why? The reason is because of the Sakkaya Ditthi. So we want person. I want myself. Myself should be there. Where am I? What's happened to me? So the Sakkaya Ditthi comes to the picture and it disturbs the process. So the things are happening very beautifully. Dhamma is working, but we are disturbing. So I become the major obstacle for Dhamma to operate. So get out of the picture. So you have to remove yourself. So don't get afraid. Okay, allow things to happen. So when mind is not established, when you lose your address, just calm down, quiet, relax, surrender. It's kind of a surrendering. Okay, whatever happens, let it happen. I have given up my life. I have offered my life to the Buddha. I have offered my life to the Dhamma. I have offered my life to the Sangha. I have offered my life to the Kalyana Mitta. Whatever happens, I am ready to accept. So that kind of a giving up. So that's why sometimes just before the meditation, say we do that kind of a reflection. Okay, I am ready to give up. I am ready to say let go. So more we have kind of a strong attachment to ourselves, a self-view, difficult. So that's why it's a kind of a slow process. At the beginning we start as a person, as a human being, as a male, as a female, whatever it is. And slowly we are getting to more understanding. At that time, there is no you, there is no I. So absence of I is the place where you feel more kind of relaxed, no suffering. Very beautifully actually Buddha mentioned at various places. Nissitassa chalitang anissitassa chalitang natti. So nissitassa chalitang. Whenever mind is attached to something, hooked up with something, hold on to something, then the shivering, wavering, vibrations, all these dependencies are there because you are hooked up with something. You are attached into something. So that something is impermanent. That is constantly changing. And you also get sort of shocked, wavered because of that. Anissitassa chalitang natti. So if you are completely independent, there is nothing to associate, then what are the ones you being going to be wavered? Say for example, there is a puppet. Suppose that from 10 directions there are 10 threads. So 10 people are using pulling and all these things. So the puppet may do all its dances. So that all these 10 people around it can make it dance. Now suppose 5 threads are being cut off. Now how many can make it dance? Another 5 still can make it dance. Okay. Say another 3 removed. So now still 2 can make it dance. Suppose then that 2 also removed. Then with which that this is dependent on? Nothing, right? So all assume that all these 10 people are still trying to do various things. But the puppet is independent. So our mind is also very much like that. So various strings are being pulling always at different times. So different threads are being pulled. So we are dancing this way, that way. Sometimes the jealousy string, sometimes the the lustful string, sometimes the anger string. So these are the different strings operating every time. So we are like a puppet, okay? Always dancing. So when these strings are not available, when the mind becomes unassociated, non-grasping, not attached with anything, not hooked up with anything, then Buddha men say, Anissitassa chalitang natti. There is no any wavering. There is no any shocking. There is no any disturbance. So mind has its own freedom. But we are afraid of freedom. So I heard that Bhante Dhammaji was telling that there's a book published called Fear of Freedom. So we are fearful about freedom. So we want something. Yeah, we can continue.
Report number 4. Dear Bhante, can you please explain what you experience as emptiness? Is it a no thoughts moment where you do not get any signs, sanya, from the 5 sense faculties? Theruvan Saranai.
So if I answer all these, then I have nothing to tell in the Dhamma sermon. So basically, emptiness mainly the definition is that there is no I making, mind making, or self view. So you don't feel a soul. You are not feeling any self, a person. So how you feel it then? I mean, sometimes there is a very common statement. So I am thinking, therefore I am. So this kind of thoughts are available. Therefore I exist. So that is how we define ourselves. I am thinking. So I exist. So when there are no thoughts, then I do not exist then. So there is no person then. So if there are no thoughts, how many defilements are available? So the defilements to operate, for them to come to the active state, so the thoughts are a kind of a prerequisite. So through thoughts they are manifesting. Does that mean that complete freedom from thinking, that we are arahants? No? You are not an arahant? So still, that's the Buddha's beautiful finding, this elegant finding. Even though you can go to the complete absence of thoughts, still the underneath tendencies are available. Latent tendencies are available. There is a possibility they come into operation and again thoughts may appear. So that's why till we are bounded with these what you call fetters or asavas, so we are still bounded. And so in the emptiness, in that sense, okay, one thing is that you can't feel a strong I. That is one important thing. You have to feel kind of a lighter, kind of presence is there. A little bit of presence may be available, but not strong ego operation. Say, for example, when someone is blaming you, you start feeling little ego, right? I mean, you've been threatened. I need to tell something. I need to show him a lesson. I need to teach him a lesson. So likewise, you feel more active. You feel a lot of presence because ego is more active. But in the emptiness, on the other hand, you can't have that kind of a strong ego presence. Rather, just a mere awareness. Just awareness. So that's why sometimes some people interpret as effortless mindfulness. At the beginning, what we have is fairly the effortful mindfulness. Because we are putting a lot of effort to be mindful. We are even attaching our mind to something so that we can establish in the present moment. Certain things are operating in the present moment, so mind being hooked up with that, so that mind also involved in the present moment activity. That's what we do in the walking meditation. Say Anapanasati. So there are certain activities happening in the present moment, so we are attaching our mind also, the mental process also to that bodily process. So the mental process also now established in the present moment. But later, the opposite may happen, opposite in the sense, there are no process to attach with. So mind is very much like floating. No place to stay. No object to attach. So one important thing is there is no I, no person. Another important thing is that the mind is empty. You feel like kind of a blank mind. But the problem is that these terminologies, we sometimes, when we are trying to intellectually understand, we put into the negative frame. So emptiness. Do you feel positive about that or you feel negative about that? Hiss කිව්වම නිකන් නේ. වැඩක් නැහැනේ, දෙයක් නැහැනේ. Are you coming here to become his? So ultimately what are you gain? Emptiness. After the whole years of practice, what did you gain? So your husband, once you return back home, you went to Kalalgoda so many years. What do you gain? Emptiness. Can you market that? That's why, I mean, Buddha is mentioning at least you better, I mean, in the future, even today, so we can't market these kinds of teachings. You can't market Nibbana, emptiness, these things. They don't have commercial value. But maybe a very beautiful melody and attaching a kavi banner and all these things, not bad. Can sell. So people may come. You can, you can even publish a DVD with a very soft voice, very melodious kavi banner. That's why, I mean, very beautifully Buddha mentioned. There is one sutta called Ani Sutta. Ani is a term for bere, drum. That Pali term for Ani is reference for the drum. In this sutta, Buddha mentioned, so I am reducing my Dhamma sermon for 30 minutes only. So in that sutta, Buddha mentioned at that time there is a group of kings There's a name also there mentioned. For them, there was a very powerful drum. When they hit that drum, the whole country can hear it. It's a very powerful drum. One day, one strip broken from the drum. So they put a, plaster. They have taken something else and they put a little bit of a plaster to that. Now still continuing. Another day, another place broken, another strip. The original strip, original part, broken. Now put another patchwork. Some days later, another strip. Some days later, another strip. Now what is being stripped out? The original parts. So what is being attached? The new parts, the artificial parts. So the natural, original quality slowly drops. Some artificial external things are now being connected ultimately to this drum. And Buddha mentioned, one day is there, all the original parts are removed. Now what is remaining? All the artificial parts are remaining. And then Buddha mentioned, this is what happened to the Dhamma. For what purpose that Buddha taught Dhamma, those deep meanings are slowly, stripped out, slipping out. And you are putting a different plaster here and there, a little bit of a poem here, another poem there, a little bit of a, essay attached here, there. Ultimately, the whole core, original core being disappeared. What we have is something artificial that is not the original teaching. So that is what happening to the Buddha's teaching, and he himself is mentioning. So those core teachings are slowly evaporating, disappearing, and ultimately some artificial, augmented type of teachings will remain. So therefore he advised the monks, so you should listen to these teachings when Buddha is talking about the Nibbana, when Buddha is talking about the Sunyata, the emptiness. So they are little difficult to understand, but that is the core. So that is the depth. So depth is not that shining and you go by air and showing all these fantastic things. But the depth is just a very inner, coming to the basics. You being no one. Being no one. So there's a beautiful book by Ayakema, Being Nobody, Going Nowhere. Have you come here to being nobody? And going nowhere. Very beautiful. They are very, clever. How they are trying to address the audience. So being nobody and going nowhere. Nowhere to go. And no one to be. So we already are someone. And that's why we suffer. But when you are no one, so no one is not another one. No one can't be another one. Nobody can't be a somebody. So how mind is slowly releasing everything, not attaching to anything, not established at any place. So that is the direction that Buddha is pointing out. So you can imagine how Buddha is transferring his teachings. Very difficult. Because we as human beings always hooked up with something. We want to be with our children, we want to be with our parents, to be with our, friends, loved ones, attached to so many things. I want to have my car, my property, this and that, and everything is there. But when Buddha is telling, okay, you are no one, just be nobody, very difficult to communicate. So he thought, no point of telling these things. I better mind my own business. After becoming the Buddha. So he decided not to teach. At that moment it is said that the Sahampati Brahma has come and invited the Buddha, okay, please, there may be beings with little dust in their eyes. So without the teaching, they also may get spoiled. So you better teach. That's why, slowly we need to attune our minds to this direction. Not to fame, gain and all these things, rather, so aiming this kind of a direction. Yeah.
Report number 5, Most Venerable Bhante. When we are dwelling in emptiness, are we connected to the universe? Is this the correct path to follow? If not, please explain.
Connected to the universe. Actually, we can say like, now when you are feeling yourself, are you connected to the universe? Or are you a very individual, small, strong, selfish person? Say you are having a very, very selfish, active I is available, you don't think about others. You simply think about yourself. I want my shares. I want my part, my share. I don't bother about what happened to the others. I want to win. I want to win the election. I want to become this, I want to become that. So you are a very small, very selfish person. But on the other hand, when you become no one, you are part of the whole environment. So when you are not there, so you are connected by everything. You have become part of the whole universe. You already kind of connected to the whole universe, we can say. That's why, it is mentioned, say, being secluded, being in emptiness, but you don't feel lonely. Yeah. No one is around you maybe. You are just there. Maybe in an empty hut, just in an empty forest. Animals may be there. You may be the only human being available, but not feeling lonely. Are you singing a song, I feel lonely, like that? Oh, you feel quite happy. So that's why, sometimes there are in Thero Gathas, very beautiful. So those Arahants, even, my very beautiful one is that, Kashyapa, Mahakashyapa. So he says, he's living in the Pippali cave one time, and he's simply looking around during the night time, and the fireflies are flying. So that sight is something joyful. He mentions that as a poem. But no one else is there. The fireflies are flying here and there at night. In today's terms, it's like a LED, bulb වලට මොකද්ද කියන්නේ? Decorated, string of bulbs, like that. Sometimes even, I don't know if you are living in a kind of a forest environment. There are certain trees that they being attracted. There are hundreds of fireflies come and they start, showing their decoration in that particular tree. Very beautiful. But when the whole street lamps and all these headlights of the vehicles are available, you can't enjoy that. But in a forest environment, so when none of those artificial lights are absent, not available, then you can see the beauty of the nature. So likewise, and there are sometimes certain monks, other monks says, Eka Vihari. So he's just dwelling alone, quite happy. He don't feel loneliness, but he feel that he's completely part of the whole universe. So this kind of improvement has to happen within ourselves as well, if we are going in the correct direction. So that's why if you are practicing vipassana, it is not that you feel lonely, rather you may enjoy being alone. You like seclusion. It is not because that you hate others or you can't be with others. You can be with others as well. You can enjoy the company. But being alone, you still connected. You don't feel lonely. You don't feel that you are being abandoned. You're being cut off. You don't feel like that. You feel even say a fly can make you laugh. A butterfly make you happy. Even a firefly, as mentioned by Mahakashyapa, you make you happy. And there are very beautiful such things. Says another monk is telling, Arahant is telling, this cross. Kohata මොකද්ද කියන්නේ? Crow. Cuckoo. Okay, whatever cuckoo. So in the paddy fields, so they are, as a group, they are flying, right? Very beautiful. So this monk noticing that. So there is a rain approaching. So now he is asking, is this the rain? Because the huge rain is approaching. Is this the reason that you all are flying? Very beautifully put it in the Theragatha. You can see how connected they are with the nature. So today, we completely destroying the nature. We going away from the nature, and nature is punishing it. Nature is punishing for that nowadays, for human ignorance. But if we are being more sensitive, connected to the nature, we become actually very innocent, harmonious living beings, rather than more selfish, arrogant kind of beings. So we become more harmonious, innocent, down-to-earth kind of people. So they are quite satisfied. It's not that we unsatisfied, feel defeated. Rather, with little things you can be happy. While being alone you can be happy. You feel fully connected. You feel sufficient. Fullness is there. So that's a kind of a different angle we are talking here. Typically, for us to be happy, we need a lot of acquisitions. So you want millions, you want billions, then only I can be happy. So that's a typical attitude. That's why say the people, they never satisfied. Even though they may have million, billion, still not satisfied. But on the other hand, the other side is, so even if you have a little bit of things, still one can be happy, fully contented, fully connected, not feeling lonely, but fully aware. Still, even a little wind makes you happy. Even a wildflower makes you happy. So you can see that the kind of change happening in the mind. So our minds have become really rough. For that to be happy, you need a lot of things. A lot of turbulence is required for you to be happy. But when mindfulness and these spiritual qualities are being developed, even the slightest things makes you happy. A bird's, sing makes you happy. A little butterfly makes you happy. A little monkey makes you happy. A little wind makes you happy. A wildflower makes you happy. Because your internal happiness is available. It is not then that your happiness dependent on others. Rather, you internally being contented. You internally being happy. Not with material things, but spiritually you are fairly matured, fairly gifted. So these are the areas actually we need to look forward. Am I getting more and more happy person because of the practice? Or am I still having a lot of, worries? So when Buddha presenting the Satipatthana, so his major statement, Dukkha domanassanam atthangamaya. So all different kinds of worries, despair, lamentation, all these things have to disappear. Instead, you have to feel more contented, happy, loving, grateful. So those kind of, say, good qualities has to come up. So you be kind of a happy person with less things maybe. So if that change is happening within you, you are in the correct path. If not, something is wrong. If it is not happening, then you are meditating for a different reason. Meditation hasn't going in the correct path. So therefore, Buddha's path or the teaching is leading us towards happiness. That happiness is not through material things, but rather happening within our minds, within our hearts, and then fully connected with the nature, connected with the whole universe. Yeah, there's a question. Yeah. Please, you can pass the mic. Yeah.
You were talking about the happiness. Now, this happiness is also isn't a conditioned thing.
Yeah, sure. So that's why it may slowly change or evolve into more equanimity. But equanimity is not also the bored equanimity. It is not that the diluted, very alvatura-like thing.
Maybe is it kind shunyata? Is it coming to a shunyata level?
That's why those say emptiness, animitta, sunyata. So they are typically, Buddha mentioned, are very much into the equanimity. Etan santang, etam panitang, yadidang upekha. So this is serene, this is sublime. That is the equanimous state of mind. So happiness may sometime arise, but it is not that you attach and you are trying to hold on to, but you understand, okay, as you said, it may also be conditioned, but you are not afraid of happiness. But in general, what the mind is associating or what the mind is dwelling, experiencing is maybe the equanimity. So the equanimity is more kind of stable state of the mind. Maybe the original state of the mind is more equanimous. But that equanimity doesn't mean that you are simply, say, ignorant and equanimous, but mind is not attached to anything and being equanimous. That is a different way we can say. Say someone is talking about happiness, pain, and then in the middle you are having the equanimous feeling. Then are we talking about only this equanimous feeling? Then someone else may understand, okay, these all different conditioned phenomena are arising and passing away. They are so vulnerable, impermanent. Then you have deeper understandings. As a result of that, you being equanimous to all the formations, all the sankhara. Then it's another deep understanding of the situation, and then you become equanimous. So that is the equanimity we are talking here. To all the different formations, you are capable, or mind is capable of being equanimous. Understanding the conditioned phenomena are useless. So that deep equanimity is maybe more contentment is there. Not that you feel, insufficient or something like that. You feel sufficient, you feel contented, you are happy. Happy does not mean that you are laughing and all, but you feel internally happy. You feel contented, fulfilled.
Report number 6, Swamin Wahansa. Is sunyata only relevant to Atma or self? A friend once said, according to his faith, they seek salvation through service, shramadana. When we serve others, does that act release our ego and clinging to the self? These acts move towards realizing sunyata or empty and non-importance to ourselves.
Yeah, it has some contribution. That's why we are giving dana, say generosity. So these have some contribution. Suppose you are involved with a lot of hard work. You get blamed by the boss. You are being blamed by your neighbors. You are being threatened by others. Your wife is complaining. Your children are complaining. But you have to work really hard. You earn something at the end of the month. And you are giving even from that hard-earned money. How much? Very difficult. Very hard-earned, difficult-earned, with your sweat, what you have earned, say you are giving for someone else. Very difficult. If you have a lot of ego, you can't give. So in order to give dana, in order to become generous, so you have to have fairly less ego. Then only it is possible to give up, possible to give. It is not that you earn things, say, easily. That's why Buddha mentioned with your own sweat, with your own arm power. He's talking about that in the agricultural society. Say, you can imagine a farmer going early in the morning to the field and spending many hours on the hot sun, sweating and pulling all the effort and struggling with maybe bulls and ultimately earning something. And even that earned money, that rightly earned money, hard earned money, assume that you are giving to someone. Not easy. Suppose that you are here, so the, say, bank interest rate has gone. As a result of that, you get another bonus. Giving that, not a big deal. Automatically earned money, no? Not your hard-earned sweat. Your sweat is not involved there. That is because of the economy problem. You have given some additional few percent of increment to the fixed deposit. As a result of that, you earn something. So you are giving that to the temple. Not a big deal. So to become generous requires some amount of giving up. So that's why generosity is something that Buddha recommended. And more you generous, so then you can even give up your own self. Give up I, give up myself, give up I making. Understanding none of these aggregates belong to you. Relinquishing of all acquisitions. Sabbupati patinissaggo. And Buddha mentioned that is the supreme kind of giving. Now you are giving that hard-earned money, we can understand it's very difficult. But how about giving up yourself? Now say, for individually, so we have so many parameters to build ourselves. Okay, you are, imagine about your own person. How you are defining yourself? Okay, your education. So I am come from this kind of an education. I went to that college. I went to that university. I got that degree. I got this degree. So you have some kind of a, privilege. Have some kind of an education. So that's a one strong parameter to indicate you as a person, highlight you as a person. And you are a Buddhist, you are a meditator, a Vipassana yogi, a Sunyata. All that's another parameter talking you. They are talking Samatha, I am a Sunyata, I am a Vipassana. It's another parameter showing you as a, as a crown. So you are a Sinhala Buddhist. Another parameter. We are in a paradise, Sri Lanka. Another parameter. So my, say, family, so they have this wealth, that wealth, my father and so, my mother is so and so. We are coming from a, really wonderful generation. A good generation. So another parameter. I am from this party. My father is this. My father is this. Another parameter. Say all these are things we define ourselves. These are now say this table has 4 legs. Through that 4 legs, okay, this whole thing is resting. So likewise, this self-view, resting, depending on all these acquisitions, what we call as upadi. How about removing leg by leg? Now, suppose that you are defining yourself with crown and all these things, you are a marvelous person. Someone is removing bit by bit, destroying yourself, removing leg by leg. Can you imagine? That's why, relinquishing of acquisitions is the most difficult part, subtle part, and it is not that you are doing it with tears or you are doing it because you can't. You have to do it. It is not the way. Rather you may giving it up willingly with a smile. How mind is trying to trick us and delude us, showing a self. How mind is trying to delude us by showing that you are a person, you are a so and so. So mind is trying to trick us. It is not a available solid self, rather mind-made self. It's an imagined self, mind-created self, artificial self. We all are trying to protect an artificial, imagined, illusionary self. It is suffering. So the Buddha's teaching helping us to understand this. And one time he's giving a very beautiful simile, and he's telling, monks, now assume that there are people coming and cutting the grass of Jetwanarame. Okay, I'm asking from you. Now there are people who are coming and trying to, now we have seen that this firewood is available. Someone has already cut the mahogany trees, firewood is available. Now, Venerable, what's his name? Anuruddha, no? Gangarame monk, Asajiv. Sajibante may send someone to carry this all firewood. Now you see different workers are coming, they are pulling all the firewood. And Buddha is asking, do you feel that someone is pulling you? You being cut away, you being driven, you are being taken to Gangarame? Do you feel like that? No, it's the firewood being taken, right? Are the firewood you? Are the firewood belong to you? No. Then Buddha say, monks, form is not you. Form is not yours. Feelings are not you. Feelings are not yours. Perceptions are not you. Perceptions are not yours. Formations are not you. Formations are not yours. Consciousness is not you. Consciousness is not yours. Give up what is not yours. Like someone is taking the firewood. So when firewood being taken, you don't feel any problem, right? You don't feel that someone is taking me, taking I. Similarly, Buddha say, none of these aggregates belong to you. Whatever not belong to you, give it up. Very strong. How he is trying to put the message. Very beautiful in a way. So as we continue our practice through Vipassana, so slowly, so these things are the things that we have to touch. We have to talk. And we have to improve. And whenever mind is trying to trick us, telling, okay, your form, that is you. And then you need to understand, okay, mind is trying to trick us. Mara is trying to trick us. Mara is trying to fool me. So without allowing that, you are abandoning that thought. So likewise, I-making, mind-making have to be abandoned. Ahankara, mamankara, mananusaya. All these I-making, mind-making and self-based conceit has to be abandoned. Yeah, we'll go. Yeah.
Report number 7. Swamin Wahansa. අනුන්ගේ කයක් දෙස බලන ආකාරයට Taman දෙස බලන්න. මෙය පැහැදිලි කරන මෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිමි. තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
ඒක තමයි. හිතන්න දැන් ඉතින් කය ඇවිදිනවා. කය මගේ නෙමෙයි. කයට ඇවිදින්න දීලා මම බලන් ඉන්නවා. හොල්මනක් ඇවිදිනවා කියලා හිතන්නකෝ. ඒ හොල්මනට ඇවිදින්න දෙනවා මම බලන් ඉන්නවා පොඩ්ඩක් ඉතින් පැත්තකට වෙලා. හොල්මනට කොහොමද තේරෙන්නේ? ඉතින් අර මුලදී පටන් ගන්නකොට නිකන් මම ඇවිදිනවා කියලා හැඟීමක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි ගාන්ට ඔතන ටියුන් වෙලා එනකොට බැලන්ස් වෙලා එනකොට Tamanට තේරෙනවා මේ කය ඇවිදගෙන යනවා. මට වැඩි අත දාන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. මට ඉන්ටරප්ට් කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. කය යාගේ වැඩේ කරගන්නවා. යා සාමාන්‍ය යාට හුරු වේගෙන් ඇවිදිනවා. මට තියෙන්නේ ඇවිදිනකොට කකුල වදිනවා ඔන්න පොළවේ. එතකොට මට දැනීමක් තියෙනවා. අනේ දැනීමට හිත තියාගෙන යන්න විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. ඕක හිතලා කරන්න බෑ ඇත්තටම. දැන් මේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා මේ හිතලා තේරුම් අරගෙන කරන්න යන්නේ. ඒක හරියන්නේ නැහැ. වැඩේ කරන්න ගත්තට පස්සේ ඕක වේවි. හිමීට වැඩේ වෙනවා. ඒක ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එක හරහා වෙනවා. ඒ හින්දා ඒක ඇත්තටම බරපතල විදිහට හිතන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. හිතලා කරන්න ගියොත් වැඩේ අවුල් වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා වැඩේ කරගෙන යන්න. වැඩේ කරගෙන යනකොට ඔය මේ අනුන්ගේ දෙයක් විදිහට බලන බැල්ම Tamanට උරුම වෙනවා. ඒක Tamanට තේරෙන්න ගන්නවා. හිතන්න දැන් අපි හුස්ම ගන්න යනවා. හුස්ම ගන්නවා. ආනාපාන සතිය වඩනවා. ඉතින් මුලදී ආනාපාන සතිය වඩන්න ගියාම ඔන්න හුස්ම ගන්න තේරෙන්නේ නැතු වෙනවා. ඉතින් හුස්ම දාන්න දඟලනවා ඊට පස්සේ. දැන් මේ මෙතෙක් කාලයක් හුස්ම ගත්ත මනුස්සයාට දැන් ඔන්න හුස්ම ගන්න තේරෙන්නේත් නැහැ. ඒකත් පැටලිලා. දැන් ඊට පස්සේ හයියෙන් හුස්ම ගන්න යනවා. මේ දැන් හුස්ම ගන්න රටාවත් අවුල් වෙලා. මොකද ආනාපාන සතිය වඩන්න ගිහිල්ලා. ඉතින් ඒකට කියන්නේ නෝ මේ ආනාපාන සතිය වැඩිවට කමන්නේ හුස්ම ගන්නවත් පොඩ්ඩක් වෙලාවක් තියාගන්න කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි තේරෙන්නේ මෙච්චර දඟලන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. කය එයාගේ වැඩේ කරගන්නේ. කය දන්නවා හුස්ම ගන්න කොහොමද කියලා. මට තියෙන්නේ පැත්තකටලා බලන් ඉන්න විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. කියලා තමන්ම ඔය මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ හරහා ගිහිල්ලා තමයි ඒක තේරුම් ගන්නෙ. එදාට තින් තේරෙනවා මෙච්චර කාලයක් මේ මොකෙද වගේ දැඟලුවා මේ සුළු දෙයක් නෙමෙයි කරන්න තිබුණේ කියලා අන්න තමන්ට තේරෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒකට එන්න ටිකක් කල් යනවා ඉතින්. ගානක් නැහැ ඉතින්. අපි හැම එකේම අර අනවශ්‍ය විදිහට අත දාලා තියෙන පුරුද්ද තමයි උතන පෙන්눔 කරන්නේ. අපි ඕන දෙයකට අත දානවා, එපා දෙයකට අත දානවා, ඕන දෙයත් කන්ට්‍රෝල් කරන්න යනවා, එපා දෙයත් කන්ට්‍රෝල් කරන්න යනවා, පුළුවන් දෙයත් කන්ට්‍රෝල් කරන්න යනවා, බැරි දෙයත් කන්ට්‍රෝල් කරන්න යනවා. ඉතින් ඔහොම ප්‍රශ්නයක් අපිට තියෙන්නේ. පස්සේ තේරෙනවා මේක එච්චර දඟලන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. මේක කයට කරගන්න දීලා මට තියෙන්නේ බලන් ඉන්න තියෙන්නේ. කියලා අන්න ගාන්ටේ බැලන්ස් එකට එනවා. හොඳයි.
වාර්තාංක 8 ගරු ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ මම ටික කලක් භාවනා කරන කෙනෙක්මි. මූල කර්මස්ථානයේ ආනාපාන භාවනාවයි. සක්මන මට નિરાයාසයෙන් කෙරීගෙන යනවා. සක්මනෙන් පසු මම පර්යංකයට වාඩි වෙනවා. දැන් මට සිතුවිලි මොකුත්ම එන්නේ නැහැ. මම කිසිවකට උපාදානය කරන්නෙත් නැහැ. මම හිතනවා මම ඉන්නේ අනිශ්චිත ස්වභාවයක කියලා. මට දැන් පර්යංකයට වාඩි වී හුස්ම රැලි 4-5ක් ගන්නා විට හුස්ම නැති වී ගොස් මෙම අනිශ්චිත ස්වභාවයට පත් වෙනවා. එතන විනාඩි 10ක් පමණ සිටිය හැකියි. ඊට පසු මම නැවත හුස්ම රැල්ලට යනවා. නැවත ආපසු අනිශ්චිත ස්වභාවයට යනවා. මේ ක්‍රියාවලිය මුළු පර්යංකය තුලම සිදු වෙනවා. මට දැනගන්න ඕනේ ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ මෙම ක්‍රියාවලිය හරිද? මා එකතැනක හිර වීද? නැතිනම් භාවනාව ඉදිරියට කරගෙන යාමට මට උපදෙස් කරුණාවෙන් ලබා දෙන්න. ඔබ වහන්සේට තෙරුවන් සරණයි. දීර්ඝායුෂ වේවා.
හරි. ඒක බලන්න ඕනේ තමන්මයි. ඒ කියන්නේ තමන්ම බලන්න ඕනේ. හිතන්න ඊට පස්සේ සක්මනට යනවා. සක්මනට යනකොටත් ඕනනම් පොඩ්ඩක් බලාගෙන යනවා. තමන් ඒ දකින්න දේවල් වලට දැනෙන දේවල් හිත දාගෙන යනවා. ඒවා හොඳින් බලමින් සැහැල්ලුවෙන් හිත යනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඔන්න යම්කිසි අපිටම ටිකක් තදර දෙයක් දැනුණා. ඒක නිකන් නැති වෙලා යන හැටි, බොඳ වෙලා යන හැටි ටිකක් බලාගෙන හිටියා. බලාගෙන හිටියා. ඒක බැලීම අග කෙලවරේදී ඔන්න හිත අනිශ්චිත වුණා. සන්න දැන් ඒ අනිශ්චිත බව තුල ඉන්නවා. දැන් ඉතින් නොදැනෙනව නෙමෙයි මේ දේවල්. දැනේවි. හිතට හැබැයි දැන් උවමනාවක් නැහැ ඒ වස්සර රිංග ගන්න. හිත ඉන්නෝ යාගේ පාඩුවේ. එහෙමනම් අන්න ඔය අපි කියන අනිශ්චිතතාවය තුල හිත රැඳිලා තියෙනවා. ඒක නිකන් අර ආශාසය තුනී වීමම නෙමෙයි. ඊට වඩා ටිකක් ගැඹුරක් ඒක තියෙනවා. මේක දැකලා මේකේ තියෙන අනිත්‍ය තේරුම් අරගෙන මේකේ තියෙන අනාත්ම ස්වභාවය තේරුම් අරගෙන හිත විසින්ම ඒක අතහැරලා දාලා. හිතට තේරුමක් නැහැ. හිතට උවමනාවක් නැහැ දැන් මේවා එක රැඳෙන්න. ඊට පස්සේ හිතන්න දැන් සක්මනේ ඇවිදිනකොට රූප පේනවා. ඕනනම් වටපිටත් බලනවා. දැන් ඉස්සෙල්ලා නම් අපි හරීම පරිස්සමෙන් ඇවිදින්නේ. කොහෙවත් වටපිට බලන්නේ හරි පරිස්සමේ අඩිය තියාගෙන යනවා. මොකද වටපිට බැලුව ගමන් හිත දුවනවා. නමුත් දැන් හිතන්න නිකන් සැහැල්ලුවෙන් ඇවිදිනවා. වටපිට බලම ඇවිදිනවා. හැබැයි හිත යන්නේ නැත්තම් හිතට උවමනාවක් නැත්තම් දැකපු දේ ඔස්සේ යන්න සේ රූප පේනවා, සද්ද ඇහෙනවා, ගඳ සුවඳ දැනෙනවා, වටේ පිටේ සද්ද ඇහෙනවා, අනිත් අයත් ඇවිදිනවා. මේ ගොඩක් දේවල් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි හිත ඉන්න යාගේ පාඩුවේ. අන්න අනිශ්චිතයි. අන්න හිතටම ඒ හැකියාව ලැබිලා. ඒක අපි නිකන් තරවටු කළා හිත පවත්වීම නෙමෙයි මේ කතා කරන්නේ. නිකන් මේ ඉන්ද්‍රිය සංවරය හරහාම පැවැත්වීම නෙමෙයි මේ කතා කරන්නේ. ඊට වඩා ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එක හරහා නැත්තම් අපේ පුහුණුව හරහා විපස්සනාව හරහා අන්න හිතට යම්කිසි හැකියාවක් ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවා. කුසලතාවයක් දිනුලා තියෙනවා හිතේම මේ රූප, ශබ්ද, ගන්ධ, රස මේ කොයි දේ ආවත් ලාවට වගේ බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකේ නිකන් සිතුවිලි ආවත් හිතට උවමනාවක් නැහැ ඒවත් එක ලොකු ගනුදෙනුවක් කරන්න. හිතට දැන් උවමනයි විවේකයෙන් ඉන්න. සැහැල්ලුවෙන් ඉන්න. එයාගේ පාඩුවේ ඉන්න. අන්න ඒකයි අපි මේ කතා කරන්නේ. එතන තමයි එක සම්දිස්ථානයක් වෙන්නේ අපේ භාවනාවේ. අපි මේ ඔක්කොම දේවල් හොඳට නැවත නැවත බලා විමර්ශනය කර යන හැම දෙයින්ම මෙතෙන්ට එන්න ඕන කුසලතාවය තමයි හැදෙන්නේ. මෙතෙන්ට එන්න ඕනේ ප්‍රඥාවේ බීජය නැත්නම් ප්‍රඥාවේ සහයෝගය, උපකාරය තමයි දිනු වෙන්නේ. ඒක ලැබෙනකන් මෙයා ඉන්නේ කොහේ හරි අල්ලගෙනම තමයි. එයාට බෑ තනියෙන් ඉන්න. එයාට බෑ නිදහසේ ඉන්න. එයාට හැමතිස්සෙම මොකක් හරි අල්ලගෙනම ඉන්න ඕනේ. ආලම්බනයක් ඕනේ. දැන් අරමුණක් කියලා කියන්නේ අරමුණ කියන එකේ තවත් පැත්තක් තමයි ආලම්බන කියන එක. ආලම්බන කියන්නේ නිකන් මේ හැරමිටියටත් කියනවලු ආලම්බනය කියලා. දැන් හැරමිටියක් අපිට වමනා වෙන්නේ ඇයි? වැටෙන්නේ නැද්ද? ඉතින් හැරමිටිය අත්‍යවශ්‍යයි නේද? වයසක කෙනෙකුට හැරමිටියක් අත්‍යවශ්‍යයි. ඒ වගේ තමයි හිතටත් අරමුණක් අත්‍යවශ්‍යයි. පස්සේ ඔන්න හිතට මේ අල්ලන් හිටිය අත්‍යවශ්‍යයි කියපේ අරමුණු වල තියෙන දුක තේරිලා, ඒකේ තියෙන අනිත්‍ය තේරිලා, ඒකේ තියෙන අනාත්ම ස්වභාවය තේරිලා. ඔන්න ඒකම අත්හැරලා දැම්මනම් දැන් එතකොට මොකද්ද හිත අල්ලගන්නේ මොකද්ද? මොකද්ද අරමුණ? අල්ලගන්න කියලා එකක් නෑ ආයෙනම් නේද? ආශ්‍රය කරන්න කියලා දෙයක් නෑ එහෙනම් යාට. ඒකයි අනිශ්චිතයි කියන්නේ. අනිශ්චිත කියන වචනේ අදහස නිශ්චය කරන්න දෙයක්, නිශ්චය කරන්න තැනක් නැහැ. නිශ්චයක් නැහැ. වාසය කරන්න තැනක් නැහැ. එහෙමනම් ඔන්න අනිශ්චිතයි. ලෝකේ කිසිවක් උපාදාන කරන්නේ නැහැ. අනිශ්චිතෝච විහෙරති නචකින්චි ලෝකේ උපාදීති. අනිශ්චිතව වාසය කරනවා ලෝවේ කිසිවක් උපාදාන නොකර. මේ මේ සතිපට්ඨානේ ඉතින් හැම කමඨාණක් ගානෙම බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ ඔතෙන්ට තමයි අපිව ගෙනල්ලා අතාරින්නේ. මේක කොයි දේ වඩාගෙන ගියත් ඔතෙන්ට එන්න ඕනේ. කොයි පැත්තෙන් ගියත් ඔතෙන්ට එන්න ඕනේ. වේදනානුපසනාව හරහා ගියත් ඔතෙන්ට එන්න ඕනේ. චිත්තානුපසනාව හරහා ගියත් ඔතෙන්ට එන්න ඕනේ. ධම්මානුපසනාවක් හරහා ගියත් ඔතෙන්ට එන්න ඕනේ. කායනුපසනාවක් හරහා ගියත් ඔතෙන්ට එන්න ඕනේ. විවිධ පාරවල් තියෙනවා. උනාට හැබැයි එක ප්‍රධාන රිසල්ට් එකක් ගත්තොත්, එක ප්‍රධාන ප්‍රතිඵලයක් ගත්තොත් ඒක කාටත් එක විදිහටම භුක්ති විඳින්න ලැබෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ නිසා අන්නේ බඳු තත්ත්වයක් තමයි අපි මේ කතා කරන්නේ අනිශ්චිත බවක් කියලා. ඒ තත්ත්වය තියෙනවා නම් සතුටු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් එතනින් අදහස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ සියල්ල සම්පූර්ණයි කියලා. තව ඉතින් ලොකු ගමනක් යන්න තියෙනවා. මේක එක සම්දිස්ථානයක් අපි කතා කරන විපස්සනාවේ. ඔව් කියන්න. චුට්ටක් එන්නකෝ ඉස්සරහට එන්න.
අවසරයි ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ. එතන ඉන්නකොට බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකේ වගේ කම්පන චංචල එතකොට වේදනා දැන්න මං ඒවට හිත යොමු කරන්නේ අතනම තමයි ඉන්නේ.
හරි. එතකොට හිත බලෙන් එතනින් රැකගෙන ඉන්නවද?
නෑ නිකන් මට දැනෙනවා යාවට. එතෙන්ට මම බලන්නේ නෑ. අරක තමයි අතන උපාදන මොකොත් නොකර අතනම ඉන්නවා.
එතනලා ඉන්නවා. හරි. කමක් නැහැ. ඔහම යන්න. දැන් ඔතන ඒ කියන්නේ මුලදී නිකන් ඒව ළඟ වගේ දැනෙනවා පොඩ්ඩක්. නිකන් ළඟ ඒවා තියෙනවා නිකන් ඔළුව දාන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ හදනවා. හැබැයි මම අත දාන්නේ නැහැ. මම නේ ආරක්ෂාව මුහුණුවරකින් ඉන්නවා. ඔහොම කාලයක් යනකොට මේගොල්ලන්ගෙන් එන ඒ අවදානම එන්න අඩු වෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ නිකන් ඈතට යනවා. දැන් අපි නිකන් සතුරු කඳවුරක ඉඳද්දී එතන මම යන්තම් ගහලා එතන හදාගත්තා කියලා. හැබැයි තාම නිකන් අරගොල්ලෝ කුපත්තු කරනවා, බෝම්බ පුපුරනවා. තාම ළඟ හතුරෝ ඉන්නවා. පස්සේ තමයි මේගොල්ලෝ ඈතට යන්නේ. ඒ වගේ මෙතනත් සිතුවිලි එන එක, සද්ද ඇහෙන එක, රූප පේන එක, අර මේවා නිකන් තාමත් ලාවට නිකන් ඩිස්ටර්බ් කරන්න හදනවා. මම හැබැයි ආරක්ෂාවකින් ඉන්නවා. පස්සේ මේගොල්ලෝ ඈතට යනවා. දැන් ඉතින් මට ලොකු බයක් වෙන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. හිතම පාඩුවේ සැහැල්ලුවෙන් ඉන්නවා. ඔව්. ඒක හැදේවි. හොඳයි.
That's all, Bhante.
Yeah. So we have concluded all the questions and I hope there are no questions. No more questions, and then we'll wind up the session. And we'll start the Dhamma sermon at 4 p.m. as usual. Thank you very much for participation.